Hi, Roger. How are you?
Hey Camila, I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Me too. So happy to be here with you, starting a new project. Thank you
Yeah.
for accepting this.
Yes, when I saw your message, immediately I was like, yeah, I'm in. Like, let's do
Really?
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I was like proposing, suggesting that we would watch, no, it was a all in total 7-hour videos, and you were in. I didn't
Yeah.
expect you to watch them, but the fact that you
Well, I
did,
did. I
oh my
did.
God.
Yeah. Or I
It's
listened
so
to them.
amazing. Yeah, yeah. Usually prefer to listen instead of watching things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially because it's just someone just talking to a screen, so there's no
Hmm.
reason to watch necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of just absorb it like a podcast. Is
Uh-huh.
it for you? You prefer to watch his lips moving and that sort of type?
Yeah, no, it depends. But I was curious because I know you're a meditator, a serious meditator. So I was wondering if you do the dishes while you wash things, or if you just sit down and focus on the thing. You walk. How do you go about it?
Yeah, I can just listen to it while I'm going about my day, or often I'll listen to things. I think this is a bad habit actually, but I'll listen to things in bed,
Mm.
like at nighttime before going to sleep. I'll just lie in bed and just listen.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So
You
you're
know?
focusing on it. Yeah.
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 Well, yeah,
Yeah, because for
yeah.
me, if I'm watching, I usually more focused. If I'm here, I'm watching. But if I were just listen, I would be walking around the house, uh, doing other stuff in the middle. So I will listen to things that, um, I mean, probably things that I have already listened to,
Mhm.
or they're not new to me, or an audio book fiction thing that, but still not good, right? We should focus on the things we're doing.
Well, it's because the content will go into your peripheral awareness, and so
Hmm.
you'll absorb less of it, right?
Hmm.
If you're multitasking, um, yeah, which is the case rather than if you're just focusing on the content, you'll remember more of it, pick
It
more
is true.
about. I guess because it's in English as well for me, and I find this content interesting. I'm semi-familiar with these sort of stage theories and this kind of talk,
Hmm.
this topic.
Hmm.
So perhaps it's easier for me to listen to it in the background and absorb it. But of course I miss points
Yeah.
and like I said, so I read the paper as well that these videos are based on. Um, but I didn't take notes or anything, so I've
But
forgotten a
that's good.
lot. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's good. You don't need.
hoping, yeah, your notes can help
Mm, we'll see.
fill in my blank
I
spots.
I don't think so, but we'll see. So let's present the topic. We are talking about a model called the 9 stages of ego development. So Leo Gura from actualize.org recorded like uh, um, a collection, a group, a series on it, but it's
Three-part
a
video
three-part,
series.
yeah, a three-part video series, but it is based on a work of a researcher that I forgot the name. Susan.
Susan Groida.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Susan
yeah,
Groida. Yeah.
yeah, cool. So I haven't read the paper, but I would like to ask you if you think that what Leo presented was more or less like what she presents in the paper, or he took it because I don't know, maybe he make it like his own interpretation of it, or it was somewhat accurate. I'm curious to read it so I can understand
Yeah,
that.
I reckon. I mean, I think he fills in. He gives a lot of examples that are not in the paper that I guess
Hmm.
he's interpreting and drawing from, and thinking, oh, this is
Hmm.
what she's talking about. These kind of people, this kind of
Hmm.
behavior or thought, and he'll give lots of examples in the video, which helps. But maybe it could be that's not what she was talking about.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. I'm curious to read. It is an easy reading.
Mm, it's it's dense and it can be quite abstract actually. And I mean, that's a good thing about Leo's videos is he makes it more concrete and less abstract and more tangible because he'll give relatable examples. So you can really place, I kind of get the territory that's being spoken about here. In the paper, it's a bit drier, you know,
All
more
right.
formal.
All right. Cool. Cool. I'm curious. So yeah, so this is a model on how self-identity evolves through time. And before getting to that, I know that you're familiar with the other model that we discussed it, that it is spirodynamics. And so I wanted to ask you how important those models are for you. Do you, so for example, for me, I remember when I heard about spirodynamics, it was my first model ever, and I'm sure there are lots and lots, right, around out there, but those two are the only models I know. So when I heard about spiral dynamics, I was like literally like obsessed with it, studying it and classifying people. So that's red, that's blue, that's yellow. So I am orange, somewhat green, and I need to do that and that. And I thought it was really important. It gives you like a map. I mean, but now that I heard of this new model that I can relate to spiral dynamics somehow, I, but it's different. I don't know. I think they're important, but do you know other
Um,
models? Do you follow models?
yeah, I know a few other models like the Keegan stages is another one. There's what's it called? Integral theory by
Mm,
Ken Wilber.
mhm,
Now, are they important? I think they're certainly relaying some signal. There's something there. You read about them and you think, yeah, they're getting at something. I think you can clearly track some kind of there's a process of maturation and development that people go through. However, like you mentioned, there's certain pitfalls where you start trying to fit everyone and everything into these stages and go, oh, you're blue and you're green. And you have to remember that these models are exactly that. They're just models, and every model is a simplification of that which it is trying to depict or represent. And then when you learn about these different models and they have discrepancies, you know, they don't all line up. So there's lack of certainty or disagreement about, well, how exactly do things change? And yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of blind spots as well. There's a lot of things they don't account for. However, just the general idea of trying to track stages of development,
mm,
um, yeah, when you first discover it, like you said, it opens up kind of a new way of understanding the world, reality,
mhm.
and it makes the world make a lot more sense.
Yes. I think it made me respect people more. um, because I guess I told you this before, I wouldn't understand where some of my friends or parents were coming from, with their beliefs, with their ideas. But now I kind of know that that's the culture, that's the environment, the structure of society that we have, that's the history. How could they think differently? How could they behave in a different way if that's like the media, that's everything that they had, like the education. So I'm more like understanding, I guess, if
Yeah,
it makes sense.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
then you can talk about, well, they might have a a nice positive effect in that sense that can make you more related to other people and compassionate,
Mm-hmm.
which perhaps is independent of their validity, their truth, their
Mm-hmm.
truthness.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And also not looking at people that are above, let's say, as too crazy, like, because I would like, I'm embarrassed to say that, but here in the beaches of Brazil, Am I saying the word correctly? The
Beaches, yeah,
beaches,
good. Yeah, yeah. Not the
of
other
Brazil.
one.
No, yeah, in the beaches of Brazil, there are people selling their art, and I would go like on vacation. Selling art, is that a thing there? They like they do jewelries, things like that. They're literally like in the beach selling things, like making things with their hands. And do you know what I'm talking about? We,
That's
we,
not so
mm,
common in the beaches in Europe.
oh,
Maybe someone might walk around selling like bracelets or something, but
oh,
you don't have people making stuff on the beach.
yeah.
No?
When we are too stressed here in Brazil, we say, "Oh my God, I'm going to the beach to sell my art." Like because it feels like something that it is so. I mean, obviously they must have their difficulties, like a life of uncertainty. But when I look at them selling the things that they make, it feels like freedom. But also I would think, oh, those people are crazy. They keep traveling from place to place and living by bracelets, by necklace, or things that they, I don't know how to say that when you do scarves and
They
things
sew,
like
they
that. They
knit,
sew, they
they
knit,
knit.
and they look really happy and in peace. But I would think I'll consider those people crazy. Like, how do you give up on? And I have a friend who did that actually. She gave up. Her father had this restaurant, and instead of running the restaurant, she decided to go live like an she's not even a digital nomad. She just literally go and sell things, her art. It's that
Yeah,
instead of
yeah,
like
yeah.
running the restaurant. And then these models like Spiral Dynamics helps me to understand like, okay, so her view of life is completely different. For her is enough like to live by the sea, to do yoga, her yoga and the sun, and sell things and eat, and it's a very simple life. And she just doesn't want to run a restaurant, and that's,
Mhm,
for
mhm,
people who are at stage orange, it's something difficult to understand why she would do that. She would give
mhm.
up of security and money and a stable life. But so the models helps, like she's in another stage. She might not be, but it feels to me like she is.
Yeah,
uh
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So you can filter your understanding of culture and people through these frameworks, these stages,
Mm-hmm.
but also be open to the possibility, well, that's just her proclivity, her just by nature or nurture, just her tendency.
Mm-hmm.
Um, did you know her before? Did you see her go through stage orange?
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I met her, she was trying to work at her father's restaurant. um yeah, but we would always talk. She paints. We would talk about how she would like to live, like on painting or by painting.
Off of live
Off of,
live off of selling her painting. Yeah.
yeah. But I never thought, because people, we usually talk about those things like, oh, if I could, I would do that. I would live in a trailer. I would have a more minimalistic life. If only I could. If only I didn't have the bills to pay. If only, I guess everyone has that thing, but we don't act on it. Do you?
Mm,
How do you fit in this? Are you living by your art? Of your art?
that's a good question. I'm going in a general direction that I feel happy with,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't have some great dream aspiration like I want to run away somewhere. I mean, maybe I'd prefer a different kind of setup, um, but I don't have a sense that, oh, it's impossible, and that, oh, if I can always posit ideas. If I was a millionaire,
Mm-hmm.
or do things differently for sure. But yeah, it's not in that kind of dreamy, stuck in the rat race aspiration that maybe you referring to
Mm,
before.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I see you as someone, I mean, I might be wrong, obviously, but you lived in France, now you're in Spain,
Mm.
and maybe that's not what you thought you would be doing when you were, I don't know, in high school, or maybe it's not what your parents, I don't know how it is in your family, but maybe you went to university, you would stay in England and do other things that maybe that's what people usually do. They don't go traveling, living here and there. And I don't know. I feel like you live this more free because when I met you, I didn't know you had plans to move to Spain or that you wanted to go to a master's. Maybe where things were happening
To do a
to
master's.
do a
Yeah.
master's. Oh,
Maybe I didn't know either.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I I mean, the way I understand the world, I mean, perhaps, yeah, relating to these stages is seeing my worldview change
Mm,
over the years and recognizing that I don't know how I will see things in 5 years' time.
mm.
So I don't make 5 year plans, you know.
You don't care?
Um, it's not that I don't care, it's that it doesn't quite make sense because we don't know what the state of the world will be in 5 years. Um, you can't. I think actually there's a stage they talk about where people. I actually remember
Mm-hmm.
reading this
Mm-hmm.
in the article
Mm-hmm.
where there's a particular stage. Yeah, like this is a business people, and they ask you, okay, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah.
And it's a pretty silly question, and I think it lends itself to a way of seeing the world as quite stable, actually, that, oh, well, things
Mm-hmm.
are just going to kind of continue like this. And I'm going to work with this current culture and this current framework and my current thinking and progress and move. And first I'm going to do this and then we do that. And there's something to be said. There's a utility in strategic planning, of course. Okay, going through a course and getting a qualification will help you in the future and open doors and these kind of things, but I don't hold these plans really fixed or rigid. And there's this nice balance between, okay, thinking strategically, but also letting life unfold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
What about
interesting.
yourself?
Uh, I I tend to be more, that stage is called achiever. There, I think
Mm,
most people are in this planning, this wanting things, wants to evolve, develop. Um,
mm,
I, I try, I do that in my living room. Actually, there is 2022 and things that I want. But yeah, it's interesting to see that they change. I at the last day of last year, I put there Italian. I wanted to take that day. I wanted to take an Italian test to be a level B2, but now I just don't anymore. I don't. It's. I mean, languages are important. I'm always going to study languages, but now this year, I my main focus is dancing, is learning dancing or
yeah.
learning how to dance.
Learning how to dance. Yeah. Learning how to
It's
dance.
dance, and
Yeah.
I could never see that coming. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I was dancing last year already, but I didn't think it would become a great passion. And sometimes when we have to make choices, I don't have all the time in the world to pursue dancing and learning languages. So I decided to prioritize English. So that's what I'm doing. And so Italian, it's not important anymore, but it's difficult because there is this sense of failure, like, oh, so
Mm,
I abandoned Italian. I'm not that person anymore that study Italian. Uh, i- so I had this friend giving me an advice once that was, whatever you decide, uh, if you pick, you make a choice and you stick to it, even if it is wrong, you stick to it, you don't apologize, and you go until the end. And it was like the most, like, it's such a terrible advice, but he lives
Yeah, I
like
was
this.
gonna say
Yeah,
I don't recommend
no,
that.
but he lives like this. Like if he makes a
Hmm.
choice, for him would means like that he fails to go back and admit that he was wrong or pick something else, or a waste of time because he spent so many, like so many hours I spent like studying Italian, money, also. But I just don't want anymore. So to have that freedom to let things go, like it's something that I'm
Yeah,
learning.
yeah.
I still let the board, like it was a painting that I did, like with things that I want. It's there. I will look at it, but it's okay. I'm in peace with it. I don't want to study Italian this year, but
Cool.
you know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I tend, answering your question, I like to plan life. I like to, so those videos, I am like this. Maybe it's because my THD, my THD,
AD,
my
ADHD.
ADHD, that I need to maybe plan. So it's always like this. I'm going to study 33 hours and I try to stick with it.
Well, it's also, I mean, I think it's really great to write things out as well.
Mm,
And because you write things out depending on how you feel at one moment, and then you've given that part of yourself a voice, and you write
mhm.
things down, and then you can come back and reread it and look at it, and maybe another part of you is more active later
Yeah,
on and has a different view and a different opinion,
yeah.
or you write something down and you keep returning to it and it keeps feeling right, like yeah,
Mm,
yeah, this is the right thing, or you change your mind, but you get all your kind of internal family systems talking to one another if
yeah,
you give them a voice. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah. So about the model, I mean, we are talking about it
Mm-hmm.
obviously, but so we have, how could I call this? Like post-conventional, conventional, post pre-conventional, conventional, post-conventional, and transcendent. Those are categories or
Yes, the stages of,
stages. All right.
yeah.
So we have the first stage is pre-conventional, pre-conventional,
Yeah.
pre-conventional. And here we
Mm-hmm.
have symbiotic, impulsive, and opportunistic. And from what I understood, most people are not in pre-conventional in this world. Is that it?
I don't.
You don't. So I have
my
some,
my guess
uh,
isn't
uh,
pre-conventional. I mean, it relates a lot to children. Or...
yeah, yeah. So I wrote something on pre-conventional, about the pre-conventional. Okay, so individuals in this stage may feel that through pure force of will, they can beat others into submission. In certain cultures, this can work. So yeah, because there is symbiotic, children, impulsive, um, toddlers, and opportunistic,
Opportunists.
opportunists. More they are adults, but like they act on things like through force. So it might be some countries that are here, but I don't know.
Oh, whole countries.
Whole
Yeah.
country, no, maybe not whole countries. Some people in some countries. Um, so
Also, isn't there? There's also a swing of things here
mm,
between the different stages, uh, swinging between focus on the individual, focus on sort of group or group
mm,
identity,
mm-hmm,
developing the
yeah.
individual, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Something that I wrote here. It was something that I learned. I I made a list from all the words that I learned from this series. From the series, 212 words I learned
Oh,
from Leo. Thank you, Leo. So something I learned, zero sum game, that
yeah.
one has to lose for another to win, and that's something from the opportunist, from the pre-conventional state, that yeah, it's me versus them. And
Is this?
Mm,
I'm just, there's something I was thinking about earlier was there's certain people who you can tell they're not really capable of having genuine friendships in
mm,
some way. There's always a hierarchy status play between them and someone else, and they're always
yeah.
trying to, be dominant and win, and they view every interaction as like a mini battle in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And they there's never a moment where they're just chilling and hanging out with equals. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we're just peer to peer. I'm not trying to get one over on you or get something from you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could you see that in some people. I mean,
Yeah.
in particular, I'm thinking of Donald Trump in
Mm. You
particular. I
think
don't know
he's
if you.
opportunist? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not. I don't have the credibility to
Yeah, no, no. It
prescribe anyone to any particular category, but it's something that strikes me about him. There's never a moment, not maybe I haven't seen enough of him, I don't know him personally, where it seems like, does he have any like real bodies that he's just chilling with, or it's always a little bit of a power play?
yes. Yes, yes. And I wrote here, don't show weakness,
Mm.
exploitative, manipulative,
Exploitative. Exploitative.
exploitative, exploitative, little remorse when they are caught, anger is
Mm.
louder and projected outward, not empathy, yeah, self-protective, yeah.
I think he's ticking the boxes.
It does. Yeah, he is. Well, and then come comes the conventional stage that where most people are in. So here we have conformists, the subcategories experts and achievers. So I wrote something also about this stage. Let me read it to you. Uh, so, okay, one second. Okay, so first conformist, group-centric thinking and the security of being a member of the group dominate the stage. It's a good way to deal with the it's hard to be an adult and get along. So the conformist, they're group-centered thinking, like my family, my team, my people, my
Hmm.
party, like
Hmm.
Mohammed, Jesus. It's like this loyalty to
Yes.
the
Yes.
group and the thinking of the
Yes.
culture. And yeah, so they are fear of ostracism and other and being um, surrounded by other cultures and ways of thinking and etc.
Right. It's just an in-group, out-group mentality, and
Mm-hmm.
a presumption that the group that you're in is the right way to do things, is the correct way, and that every other group is an invader or an enemy or is wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's not yet that thought that, well, perhaps there's different ways to live life or different ways to go about things, different
Mm-hmm.
perspectives here. And is my group doing things the right way? It's like, no, you just sort of
Mm-hmm.
follow in line,
Yeah,
do what everyone
yeah.
else is doing.
Yes, yes. Tradition roles like military, church, family. Um, yeah, and something interesting that Leo brought up, and then I was thinking too, it's how those people can how may they struggle to live in the era of the internet, like this globalization, global world. How could they still hold those beliefs? Like maybe it's when most of them start to go into the other category, like when they see,
Mm.
wow, is really my culture right? It's really like this, like it's how it's supposed to be. Maybe the
Yeah, well, there's this big issue people talk of, the culture wars.
mm,
We've got all these different sort of ideologies and echo chambers in the internet, and then they start discovering other, like, territories on the internet or other echo chambers where they think differently, they've got a different perspective, and it's just, oh my, we have to convert everyone to our group and they're all wrong. We sort of, fight
Yeah.
against these different, the cultural wars.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, it is interesting because I don't think it's interesting how one can be born in one category, because I don't think I was born here at all. Like I mean, my parents certainly they were, but
Mm,
for me, even when the internet was not a thing, I was okay with diversity, and it's even hard for me to think that it's a thing, or maybe it's because Brazil, we have like this mutual culture, and maybe,
yeah,
I don't know, but it was something that is, it is, well, I was a Christian once, and yes, you do think that people that are not Christian are, they're going to hell, and you want to help them not to go. So yeah, I had this phase,
oh, you
but
used to think that?
yeah, I remember a nun once came to my house saying that God was coming back soon, and if I was not like a Christian or a good girl, or if I didn't read the Bible, I would go to hell. And then I would try as a 8-year old. I I wanted everyone to go to heaven as well with me.
Of
That I assumed that
course,
I
of
was going.
course.
So I tried, but then I don't know. It
That's
passed.
difficult. That's difficult. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
yeah, I've heard a few stories like that where, yeah, if you really believe, if you don't follow this faith to a T, you will burn in fire for eternity. And if you're not a psychopath, you think, oh, I need to help people. Like, don't you know? Don't you,
yeah,
like, really, like,
yeah,
watch out, please, 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 follow this
yeah,
religion. I don't want you to burn in hell.
yeah. Yeah, it is interesting how there is no such like a critic thinking like, why am I believing this? Is it because someone told me? Is it because you read it somewhere? Who wrote that? Um, who is like questioning is something that stage doesn't have. But I don't know, in the achiever, I don't know if it starts with the achiever like questioning a bit, or they shut off for they shut down for religion, and science become the new religion, and they also don't question science. There are, I don't know.
Yeah, it actually, there was something mentioned in the beginning of
Mm,
Suzanne's essay here that, I mean, there is some correlation with intelligence and progressing through the stages. Um, but then where that correlation comes apart then leaves open the question, well, what are these, the linearity of these stages that one must go through in this order, and everyone starts at zero and goes up, is put into question. But I mean, the ability to do, sort of think outside the box and do high level reasoning or questioning, not presuming to know anything, that ability to ask one more why question when someone gives you an answer and you go, why? And then they give you another answer and you say, why again?
mhm.
Um, you see different people stop at different levels of why. So, but I wonder, I mean, as a kid, I was kind of one of these infinite
Why?
regressing why people. I was always going, why? And my parents would eventually, not have an answer and just go, well, it just is, but why?
Yeah, but it feels to me like at the last level, the the unity level, the
Mm, mm.
transcendent level, it doesn't require a why anymore. It is where it just is. It felt to me like when you,
Yeah,
mm,
well, maybe we'll get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously you have to go through all that to be okay with the present and things just how they are and etc. I guess. But yeah, we get to that. So the next after the conformist comes the expert. So I wrote something about the expert too. Experts tend to focus on doing things right or correctly, not yet on doing the right things. Experts can also be difficult to work with as they do not realize that their opinion is only one of many. So I'll read the achiever too, so we can talk about both. The achiever stage is also the first stage where individuals are no longer as afraid of being excluded as the conformist and expert stages are. So yeah, so expert and achiever. Should I say something about them? Would you?
Yes, please.
Okay. So yeah, so the expert. So they it seems like they step back from the conformist, from the group-centered thinking, to try to look at themselves from like an objective distance and try to. So it feels like there is this pendulum swinging, like from individual to collective, like it was in the spiral dynamic. So
Hmm.
the conformist diplomat, they were like me and my group, and now uh, so there is this trying to look at the inner and yeah, and trying to, I don't know, to begin like this self-reflection, but it's still very rudimentary, trying to uh, improve, but still very, it's not as the achiever, like when they reach the achiever, really
Hmm.
wants to self, so, but I'm not sure if the achiever wants to self-actualize for the good reasons. It feels like the achiever, let me, like Leo in the beginning when he first started, like, let me discover like my full potential so I can make
Yeah.
money and
Hmm.
have cars and things and etc., like being productive, working long hours, because that was that is what a successful person does. And
Hmm.
yeah, listening to TED Talks. Yeah.
Yeah, you can want to develop yourself uh, through different motives, for different reasons. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's an egoic pursuit. Well, I want to be the best to get on top, or you could want to develop yourself because then you think, oh, I'll be a better asset to the world to help people. There's a
Hmm.
two different motivations.
Yes. And I liked when he mentioned that development could happen horizontally or vertically. Like when we are developing horizontally, so we are like, let's say I'm a Christian, I'm learning more about the Bible, I'm
Mm,
like, I'm trying to be the best at the thing, like that
mm,
I mean, like I'm passionate about, like being a teacher. I try to learn books on being a good teacher, trying things, but it's horizontally. Whereas when you're developing vertically, you are,
yeah,
it's mentally like, it is more difficult to develop vertically than it is to develop horizontally.
right. I mean, going vertically is progressing through the stages here, and horizontally
Yes.
is staying within the same stage but getting better at
Yeah. What
being
we
doing a
must
thing in
do.
that from that stage point. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry for interrupting.
No, no.
No. So yeah. So yeah, but at the same time, we need to exhaust the stages, sort of. One will not be at one stage only. We usually are going to be in three, but we need to exhaust that. So the achiever, I feel like I am in this place right now where I want to be the best teacher I can be. I want to like read self-help books. I want to, I don't know, um, be a good dancer, and
And why do you want
why?
those things?
That's a good question. I have asked that. Why do I need to be the best teacher? Why does that tell me or informs me? What do I gain from it? And then
Mm.
why? If I am the best teacher, I will have a great number of students. But why do I want a great number of students? Why am I going
Why,
to do
why,
with
why, why,
them?
why?
Will I have time to teach all of them? Yes, I'm going to create groups. So I'll teach groups of 10, but then what? Like, I'll make a lot of money. Okay, so why? I'm going to buy a car and a house, and then I want to keep making money. Why? Um, I don't know, to save for um, oh, retirement. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense when we start questioning why. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like everyone is doing that. That's what the culture is informing you. I look at my friends; they barely have time to do anything. So I remember when I started working online, it was okay for me, but my parents, they were like, so you're not taking the bus to go into work? It was back in
This is
2016.
the conventional thinking there.
You're not taking the bus. You working on your pajamas, like in sleeper. How do you call those?
Slippers.
In sleepers. What am I going to tell the neighbors when they ask that my daughter is at home all day? You see?
Yeah. Well, that there isn't that indicative of a certain stage. I mean, you care a great. Your sense of identity obviously corresponds to uh, not just yourself and how you conform within a certain cultural paradigm, group setting, but those who are in the group have to reflect well the group itself, and because you take up a collective identity there, so obviously your daughter becomes an extension of yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
so whatever she does reflects on you,
Mm-hmm.
and so in the same way you want people to judge you a certain way, they view it the same as how they judge your daughter, because it's
Mm-hmm.
essentially them judging you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nowadays everyone works from home, and it is so much easier for them to explain. And from 2016 to here, so much has changed, like in terms of like the internet, and like how things, meetings and everything is, it's online and it's easier now. They don't have a problem with that anymore.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, because now it's what everyone does. Actually, now they are proud actually, that she doesn't have to get the bus. She doesn't have to
Mm,
drive. It's interesting. Yes. So then, I do you identify with the achiever, or with this conventional? Are you
yeah,
here somewhat?
I can I don't, but I can relate to that mindset with
Mm-hmm.
being, yeah. I'm not, no, I'm no longer trying to do something to be the best for what's I was talking with a friend about this actually. There is an obvious stage you go through, like you get into real like self-development, you read lots of self-help books, and it's like I'm gonna make myself an amazing, person.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think I feel quite fortunate that I've come a long way, and now it's cool. There's less of a sense of striving that Roger will develop naturally. Just it's going to happen now. There's an unfolding. He's not going to stop, and there isn't this sense that, oh, I have to work really hard to make sure I'm the best. And there's arriving at a place of being really good with myself, really happy with who this being is, and seeing that the growth will continue. The growth will happen on its own. And I've sort of been getting into more projects that are not so much about me, but about helping others, or to build an environment that is yeah, sort of I think tapping into what I think is healthy aspects of living, and bringing more of what the world, I think, needs. Specifically, I'm talking about meditation.
Yeah.
And trying to teach meditation, introduce meditation to more people. But there's this interesting kind of phase I think people go through, where a lot of people know the hero's journey. You know the hero's journey? Like Joseph Campbell talks about, like Luke Skywalker, and there's these classic stages, right? He goes through like living a normal conventional life, and then something happens that flips his world upside down. He has to leave home, go on this adventure, fight the dragon, mature, and then come back home a wiser person. And then there's that journey, but then I think there's a journey after the hero's journey, which is then when you become like the Obi-Wan Kenobi character, who you're not the main character. You help people on their hero's journey. You've already had your hero's journey, and you help people. You're not the main character, and you don't care about being the main character, but you see other people on their journey, and you just kind of you come in for a little bit, and you maybe help them, sort of.
Wow.
After the hero's journey, the Obi-Wan Kenobi or Yoda, or that kind of being.
You don't care about receiving the credits, like you're just because it feels like we don't think much about how do you call those that are not the main character?
Well, you got the protagonists, and you want to say there's like the lead and I don't know what you call the second main character. The second
yeah. Or even the people who are just in Portuguese we say, I don't know, we say figurante. Is that a word? Am I making it up? Are those people they are hired to just be there, like they're
extras?
The extras. So you don't mind either, like to be like an extra you're just there, and you just like, I don't know, someone let something drop and you just give it to them and it's fine.
It's a bit like that. Yeah, you get over this craving to be the main character. Although I do think there's a healthy aspect of, at some point, seeing yourself as the main character of your own life.
Yes.
Because I've met people who they felt like they were a side character to someone else's life, but not in the way I'm relating to it, but in a like sad way, like, oh, I'm a nobody, like I don't matter, like I'm just serving other people, but they want to be a main character.
Yeah.
So
no, yeah, you have to have grown through all this. You have to you told me that, I guess you mentioned Wilbur's theory, like grow up and then go help.
it was wake up, grow up, clean up, show up.
Yeah, so you aren't showing up. You have cleaned your house already. So now, yeah, that is a good place to be. I would love to be there. So you are on post-conventional. Yeah, post-conventional. Yeah. So post-conventional, we have pluralist, autonomous, strategists, and construct-aware magician.
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 What are they called? Construct magicians?
Yeah, construct-aware magician. I don't know how to say that.
Magicians.
Magicians. Magicians. All right.
Yes.
Magicians. All right. So I'll read pluralist. Pluralists are often concerned with making a unique and personal contribution to the world, independent of any socially approved roles or tasks. And strategists wanting to help others evolve is one of the strongest motivators for strategists. Humanists, developmental psychologists, coaches, and consultants often inhabit this stage. Yeah.
So maybe that's me.
Yeah, I think so. Um, so, I thought that there's the strategists and the pluralists. They 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 are they're not the same. No, 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 no. Sorry, no. The pluralists are the hippies, I guess. Are those no? The pluralist,
I don't
they
remember.
so it's okay, it's okay. So if I'm not mistaken, the pluralist, they they are very relativistic. They want to take everyone's points of view. Every opinion is equally valid, and so they are very acceptive of everyone, and so that's difficult for them because they might struggle to make a living because they're not very practical. Also, because they are putting themselves in the shoes of everyone and everything, but they are very, yeah, it's the first stage of post-conventional.
This is like a postmodernist perspective.
Yeah,
So, yeah, everything's relative. And,
yeah,
there's no fundamental truth.
exactly. And yeah, so then it comes you, strategist. It's someone. So the pendulum swings again. So first, I guess the pluralists, they are outer, and the strategists, they are more inner. So they can actually what did I write here? They're not as naive. They think through systems. Um, yes. Yeah, I wrote a lot of things. So
Good.
yeah, it's
I'm
good.
glad I didn't write anything. So
Yeah, but you know more.
I didn't strategize very well.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It is the idea is it is for this to be like a conversation and motivate me to watch the videos. Yeah.
So I think like what gets people out of the pluralist stage, right, is that suddenly they open up to all these different perspectives and they see, whoa, everything's relative because I used to think one thing and now I think another thing, and then I can see that this person thinks in a totally different way from me, and there's all these different cultures and languages and religions and philosophies. So what actually is the truth? And there's a kind of throwing up your hands and being like, well, it's undiscoverable, it's all relative, depends on your upbringing.
You went through
But
that?
they
Sorry.
haven't. Say that again.
You went through that? Sorry to interrupt again. So were you at this phase where everything was relative and you were taking all in?
I don't recall. I don't recall such a strong period. I mean, I certainly recall opening up to all these perspectives and recognizing, well, for me, it really hit me where exploring altered states of consciousness and going into all these different states of mind, thinking, whoa, you can radically perceive the sense of self differently, sense of space, all these things differently, and that these different states of mind offer different sort of value structures. However, so the thing though is that these people kind of throw up their hands and say it's all relative then, but they haven't recognized that there's an irony there, because they're purporting that the ultimate truth is that everything is relative. They haven't yet modeled that part of their framework, and you have to see the contradiction there to move past it and recognize, well, hang on, well, not everything can be, if everything's relative, well, then we're saying that's not relative, that's a grounded truth then. But for myself, I mean, the thing that holds true, the thing that stabilizes a truth plane that I think holds through all these perspectives, and no matter what stage, is really the insight that suffering sucks. Suffering is the thing that we don't want. And that wherever you're trying to fit into a group or strategize and plan to create society to be a different way or build yourself to be better, it's all done in an attempt to reduce your own suffering. So, I mean, I've held that view for a while. I mean, so that really grounded me through, and so not losing sight of that. So their suffering, it's undebatably bad. Like, you know, and if you think it's not, then maybe you're not talking about the thing that I'm talking about. And there's no relativity there. It's just inherently the nuisance, you know, the issue in the universe. And yeah, so I use that kind of as an anchor truth point.
Yeah, but when you strategize, like being in that stage, like being a transformer, wanting to help, like taking that responsibility, I don't know if that's how you see it. Isn't it enough? Like, I mean, from my like selfish point of view, if I was ever there, I would just be happy with myself. Why go off your way to help people to, is something from the stage, is something like that came to you? I need to bring people here. I want a better society. I want a better world. I mean, is that what moves you? Like, is that, do you think? I would just be glad and enlightened, and I don't know.
So yeah, you can come at that from different angles. It's like, why do I want people to feel what I feel, because I want them to conform to my new in group, and I want to build a group of people like me. You know, that's, people can think of it that way. Or I don't know, you just got this sort of general compassion and you're just trying to help other sentient beings. I think the difference that makes the difference here is internally how much of a sense of striving and efforting and agency do you detect in yourself in relation to doing whatever you're doing. So I can't quite remember, but I would guess that the strategist now has like a real like life mission and thinks, I have to get this done, and if I don't do it, it's not going to happen. And so there's a stress involved there, and a pressure and a lot of responsibility put on yourself. I need to make this happen. That's no longer how I come at it. It's just the stress goes away and there's just an unfolding. It's just happening. Roger's just moving in this direction. And there's not a sense that like, yeah, I decided to, I don't have a sense that I decided to do what I'm doing. Right? So,
Yeah, maybe you are transcendent instead of post-conventional.
well, yeah, I might have some bones to pick with the transcendent stage and its sort of simplicity. Because I think a lot of sort of spiritually inclined people who've had certain awakenings would lump themselves in these transcendent. I've had a spiritual awakening, now I'm in the transcendent stage. And I mean, I particularly like to get into the detail of different. I sort of got my another model of stages of awakening that I'm actually like in the process of going to make my own video about this.
Yay, cool.
People's phenomenology, you know, really differs widely, and they have different takes. But I think in the transcendent stage, there's just a general talk about, oh, now people understand oneness or interconnectedness, right? I mean, maybe you can tell me.
Yeah, no, from what I understood, you just let things be how they are. You are conscious of what absolute is. Um, uh, I like what he said, ability to witness the whole song and dance of life without needing to interfere. It feels like what you said. Um, Reality becomes magical. Mystical states are no longer glimpses, but steadily established. Present is real. Yeah, that's what I
Well,
wrote.
yeah, this is the thing. Is I think that's a real simplification of actually what is actually a whole other area of development. So
Mm,
this wake up in the wake up, grow up, clean up, blah blah blah. The wake up avenue of development is multi-layered, and there's many different um, places that people arrive at that
mm,
might share that description, but actually they're experienced quite differently.
mhm,
So on the surface, the words that come out of their mouth sound very similar,
mhm.
but their their actual experience and the way they relate to reality can be quite different.
Yes, interesting. Wow. Yeah, so we covered all, and I thank you for being so generous with your time. We passed 23 minutes.
Hey, this
Uh,
was a great time to
oh,
spend. So
thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, before we go, I wanted to ask you if you think it was a good waste of your time. Like what? No, no, not the video, but listening to Leo talking for 7 hours and then reading the paper. And did you get something that you didn't know from it? It was because for me, it was like I think it was sort of like uh, perspective. How can I say, like, my perspective changed completely,
oh,
and
cool.
I want to study these models more. So spiral dynamics and this one, but I don't see the point of sharing it with other people. It's just, I mean, I don't think people, at least the people I'm in contact with, they could benefit from it. I don't see how. I don't know. But for me, it was very valuable, you know.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, it depends on the person you share it with and
Yeah, I mean, I'm
how
talking
is it
about my
valuable.
friends in Brazil. I'm not, yeah,
Who knows? It might surprise you.
in my, of course, yeah.
Was it a waste of time? No, it wasn't a waste of time.
Yes.
This is a really fascinating area of study, and I would
Mm.
recommend people, watch Leo's videos, read the
Yeah, Leo,
paper.
yes.
It's
Leo, yes. In general, like watch Leo's video. Start from the first videos that he started recording like 10 years ago. But
he's got hundreds of videos. If you start from the beginning, you'll never watch all of them, and they're all like 2 hours long. So.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I notice that you're wearing a very appropriate scarf. You've got
With the
all the
colors.
spiral dynamic stages, all
Yes.
the different colors
Not on
wrapped
purpose,
around
but
it. Fits perfect.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I want to thank you really, like, thank you for doing this with me, for being
Oh,
interested.
thank you for
And
inviting me to do it with you.
yeah, it's been life transforming, really, and I mean it, to be in contact with you since we met. And I blame you, it's not a good word, but I blame you for my development. No, it's not blame. No, it's not
I'm so
blame.
sorry. I'm
No,
so
no, no,
sorry.
no, no. How can I say this better? Like, I
I I I
because of
credit
you,
you,
I
but
credit
but
you.
I can't take credit. I can't take credit because it's you and only you that has to walk the path, and
Mm,
no one can do it for you.
yeah,
And we're all on our own journey. Mm. So thank you very much, Camilla.
yeah.
Very
Thank
nice
you.
words. I look
Yeah,
forward to the next one.
yeah. Me too. Me too. We still don't know what it's going to be, but let's pick one topic and talk.
Cool.
Thank
Great,
you.
great.
Thank you. See you. See you
See you,
soon.
Camila.
Bye bye.